hearing that employers are allegedly asking for applicants' Facebook passwords during job interviews. Senators Richard Blumenthal and Chuck Schumer are urging Attorney General Eric Holder to investigate whether the request is a violation of federal law. And joining us this morning with more insight is Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut. Good morning, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So you are asking the EEOC, Department of Justice, to look into basically the constitutionality of this practice of asking applicants for their passwords.
We're asking both the Department of Justice and the Equal Opportunity Commission to investigate whether this practice violates existing law, but I believe there is a need to strengthen and clarify the law to prevent this really unnecessary and unreasonably invasive procedure. Practices like this one are very much akin to asking someone for the keys to his or her house and then rummaging through files, photos, other documents, and there are sufficient means available through the public realm. I am very encouraged by the decision of the Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office to reassess or suspend this practice, which I think indicates a realization that there really are legally problematic aspects to it.
In fact, that just coming down that the Sheriff's Department there will suspend this practice. You're writing a bill that would indeed address this, because it seems to me, Senator, that so much of this is uncharted with all of this new social media. You're trying to put an end to that with the bill.
When one of the two relevant federal statutes was written in 1986, Mark Zuckerberg, the inventor of Facebook, was 2 years old. And many of these laws date from times when the internet was barely imaginable. So we need to update and upgrade the law to protect people against coercion. And really, when you think about it, if you're applying for a job in this economy and the prospective employer asks you for a password or login information, you have really no choice but to give it if you want that job. And it threatens not just the individual who's applying for the job, but other people, loved ones, family, friends, who may be communicating privately with the expectation of privacy and communicating to you some of the most intimate details of their lives, and then that information goes to the employer when you surrender your password or login information. So it has very pervasive, widespread ramifications.
Your bill, sir, would have some exceptions. Can you tell us about what those exceptions would be?
Exceptions for law enforcement, if someone is dealing with children in positions of trust, or national security, if there is a defense contractor or the Defense Department itself. There is a narrow, and I emphasize narrow, range of jobs that require further background checks, the FBI, for example, but it ought to be narrow.
Right, and you have been quoted before we let you go, sir, as saying that this practice is an unreasonable invasion of privacy for people seeking work. I think you addressed that, but this can be sometimes a very desperate group of people just looking for work in these tough times.
Tough times when people have no choice but to provide a password or login information, which may create dangers of breach, which has happened in the past, or discrimination. So there are lots of dangers here. A bill really is necessary, new law, to protect people against this unreasonable and unnecessary